Hey folks, so I just want to make a short video on the basics of designing a symmetrical spoon. It can be overwhelming if you're like me. I don't really have the artist touch to draw very pretty spoons easily freehand. I love doing freehand work, so I'm not saying anything about that. I prefer actually to do mostly freehand spoons, non-symmetrical ones. I think they look better. But if you're trying to get that symmetrical look, here's a tip that works for me. So just grab a ruler, draw a line across the paper. You just want a straight line. That's why you're using a ruler. It doesn't have to be perfectly perpendicular to the edges. And then this tool is going to be your friend if you don't have one of these, a compass. And what I'd recommend you start with is just a rough size of what you want the meat of a spoon bowl to be. So, for example, here's a cooking spoon I made, and you can see it's an egg shape. So there's basically a circle in here, and then it's stretched up is how you could describe the shape in a way. And there's all sorts of tweaks you can do to get a fatter, longer, wider, whatever you want out of a spoon. But so do a lot of experimenting to figure out what you want. So let's say that's kind of like the base of your spoon bowl. I'm just going to put a little mark where the center was. Now, most spoons don't have perfectly round bowls. If you're like me and you like to make coffee scoops a lot, boom, coffee scoop blank, and then you can work on making whatever shape handle you want. But if you're making a spoon, there's this thing called the rule of thirds. I don't know too much about it. I just know that it makes things pleasing to the eye. So 1/3, 2/3. You want to stretch up one more third. So how are you going to do that? You basically want to make the last part of the spoon stretch up to here. Except for if you go to do this, you're just going to get some weird oval shape, right? And then you could connect here, and it's just going to be some weird oval. I don't know, that's not really what you want. So what you could do, amongst many other things, this is just kind of like a little intro, but I would find the middle of this part. Find the middle. And what that means is the whole that means the radius of your new circle is half of this radius, so that when you make your new circle, is the diameter, so from one end to the other is going to be just this distance. So if I were to take this, keep it up here, put a mark here, and that's where I'm going to draw the new center. Okay, so you have 1 equivalent, 2, and then this whole part, 3. 1, 2, 3. And from there, if you were, and you could get a French curve and get really crazy, but if you were to now take this, French curve would probably blend these curves together a little bit better. Much more of an egg shape. Much more of an egg shape out of that. And now you have a very symmetrical cooking bowl. And what you have here is the widest point. So this is the widest point of your spoon bowl. The widest point is also usually the deepest, also usually where the crank is. So if you're going with a side view here, right, so let's pretend like, probably just better to use a ruler, huh? This is all going to be fairly rough. I usually don't draw the second half, the second part, but this is not going to be super square either. But so this is going to be deepest part of the bowl. if it's going to be a cooking spoon or an eating spoon. Maybe there's a kind of a keel, but anyway, so yeah, that's one way to draw symmetrical spoon bowls. There's a few different ways that I'll be uploading, but that's one of them.